We ready? Are we recording? We are recording? Okay. Josh is here. We can start then. We will call this meeting of the Palmer City Council to order on July 23rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Cooper.
Present.
Councilmember Best.
Here.
Councilmember Tudor.
Here.
Mayor Carrington.
Here.
Councilmember Moline.
Here.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Anzalotti.
And she texted that she is sick, so she won't be here tonight. Since she warned us, I presume we can give her a excused absence. Okay. No objection to that. Next, if everyone would stand, and Chief Cameron, can I get you to lead us in the pledge, please? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. And next is approval of the agenda, which includes minutes for June 20th, the joint meeting with the Planning and Zoning Commission, and the July 9th regular meeting. What's the wishes of the council?
Second.
All right. Any discussion or changes desired? Madam Clerk, could you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes.
Councilmember Moline.
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Tudor.
Yes.
Councilmember Best.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Unanimous, okay. Next is communications appearances. I don't see any elected officials or board commission members in the audience. And there's no other special reports. City managers report.
Good evening. I do not have a report for this evening.
Okay. Does the council have any questions of the manager at this time? Okay. Next is the mayor's report. There's a written report, and just a reminder that Friday, 5 o'clock at the depot, we're going to do Celebrate Palmer and give out some awards, etc. And then I was commenting about August 4th is Bike with the Blue. I'm trying to get my son to help me actually bike with them that Sunday. So, any questions for me on my report? None from council. Okay. City clerk's report. Do you have anything extra for us?
I do.
Okay.
Just wanted to remind everyone that Friday at 4 p.m. is the deadline to file for a seat on the city council, and so far we have one candidate to date.
Okay. Any questions of the clerk from the council? No. All right, city attorney's report. Madam Attorney.
Yeah, just real brief. I've been working through the language that we have in the PMC compared to the Grants Pass holding. Interesting enough, Grants Pass is a small little city of like 38,000 people. So it's very similar language to what we have. And right now we have in our PMC banning of overnight camping in all of our neighborhood parks. It's in our definition and in the code. So Grants Pass and some other smaller communities have a little bit tighter samples, so I thought I might pull some samples and present them to you in the future. But otherwise, currently as it stands, we do have it banned, and it's pretty much in alignment with similar communities around the country.
Okay. Any questions for the attorney from the council? Okay. Next is audience participation. Council meeting rules protect your right to testify and be heard even if others in the room disagree with you. Council meeting rules also ensure that those attending can express their views if they do not interfere with the rights of others to see and hear the proceedings. At all times, order and decorum will be maintained in keeping with the civility and dignity of the legislative process. So please sign in, state your name, and there's 3 minutes per person. We will open audience participation. Oh, Jackie, go for this first. It should be on, okay.
Thank you, Josh.
Good job, Josh. Oh, Mike did it, okay. Mike did the mic.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Jackie Gelforn. In April of 2022, 3 members of the City Council were recalled. That previous election season, one of the other members was removed due to not being reelected. And the reason why those 4 members were removed is because of what's involved in here. This is a binder of the posts, some of the posts from the social media group, Matsu Moms for Social Justice. And in here you will find everything to destroy the Western society. You will find masking, BLM, defunding police, boycotting businesses, LGBTQ, sexualizing the youth, anti-white racism, the beginnings of the Braided River Festival and Planned Parenthood, and that's just the beginning. Now, in here also is the library. And I'm going to hand you 3 of the posts that are in here. One of them says, it's an action item. Request that your local library acquire more social justice themed books. I've noticed on various occasions that the Palmer Library does not have many social justice themed books. So it turns out it's easy to request the library to get these. Next. I encourage everyone to look through these lists of books and others and find books that look interesting to you or your kids. See if your library carries them, and if they don't, put in a request. It's also for the Wasilla Library, by the way. And here's one. This is a great and also easy action item. Libraries are all about supporting the communities they serve. We have the opportunity to help them see more clearly the values our community holds and the resources we want to help shape and nurture young minds. I want you to know that on that petition drive, there were over 330 signatures when only 169 were necessary. And all but 10, I was there for the signing. I'm not even a Palmer resident. I was not allowed to touch a petition, but I marched the other 3 petition holders up to every door and talked to every person that signed that petition, and a lot of people who didn't. And I want you to know that I know exactly what the percentage of people who are serving this community and what this community is like. And the ones that showed up to vote wasn't even a fraction of the people. Okay? So this is a group of people who are in an echo chamber and deciding what they're going to put in the library, and that's how those books got in there, especially the ones for little children. So when they have something that they come to you and say, well, these books were requested, the reason they were requested is because they put out an action item to get those books in there. There's one that I have checked out of the Wasilla Library that I'm not returning, by the way. I'm going to report it lost. It's actually talking about a little girl who is told she's a little boy from the moment she's born. And you're supposed to read this to a toddler on their knee. Thank you.
Next we have Heidi Dedman.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I want to thank you for adjusting the agenda for me on Thursday night so I didn't have to nap in my car through the executive session. And I want to take you on a little imagination walk here. So imagine that you're walking down the street holding a large, heavy box. And here I come walking your direction, and I see that you have one shoe untied. I have some choices. I can continue on my way and say nothing, and you have a 50% chance of tripping over your shoelace because it's untied. Or I can say, hey, your shoelace is untied, and continue on my way, in which case you still have a 50% chance of tripping over your shoelace, but at least now you know about it and you can do something about it. Or I can say, hey, I see you're carrying a heavy box, let me help you, and I can tie your shoelace for you, in which case we both feel good about our day and we both go along, and you have a 0% chance of tripping over your shoelace. Or I can come up alongside you and time it just right to step on your shoelace and make you fall down. And then I can lecture you about tying your shoelaces. So in life, we have choices. We can let people be who they are. We can talk to people. We can help people, or we can bully people. And libraries are about people. So let's just remember who we're talking about when we're talking about our community and our libraries, because the books in the library are a mirror of the people in your community. Thank you.
Linda.
My name is Linda Spohn. Last week at the Republican National Convention, Donald Trump Jr. spoke against indoctrinating children in America's school system. Then a few days ago, Tucker Carlson interviewed Jack Posobiec. At the end of the interview, the time 2:06 if you want to look it up, they discuss, think about your local library. If local librarian communists can get in and put books on the front row shelves right when you walk in, which is pretty much every library now, you will be hit with racism, DEI, transgenderism, and so on. This is the communist power to take over, to sow seeds, to turn the children against their parents. If we continue to accept more and more of this, totalitarianism will be complete. Then, the Epic Times, July 3rd, page A17 by Roger L. Simon, is an article, What Are Libraries For? A brief overview of a few sentences in this article. Libraries were a place for stimulating the mind as only books can. Okay, then they built a new library near him, and he said, when I first entered the new edifice shortly after opening, what seemed to dominate the building beyond the trendy architecture, you could barely see any bookshelves, were computer banks. Seated at those banks were largely the homeless. Libraries should be what they were always intended to be, what the first ones were, full of books. Reading a book is the point. It is the brain's best food. What reading a book does for us, as nothing else, is create a mind meld with the author and authors, and especially when it is good, allows us, whether fictionally or non-fictionally, to examine its subject in all its complexities and draw sophisticated conclusions. In short, we grow from the experience, largely because of the internet and the ADHD that it so often causes. People are losing the attention span it takes to read a book through. Okay, then, now, in the Alaska Watchman, dated 7/22, is an article by Joel Davidson titled, At least 14 Alaska school districts hide children's LGBTQ status from parents. The reason I am pointing this out to you is because they, the Marxist communists, have come for our children and grandchildren. The left believes they have to do this for the greater good, and it's the greater evil. Every person has the ability to change things. Our country is in a state of emergency. We need to protect our children. They need to be a priority. Thank you.
Travis Friesen.
Hello, I'm Travis Friesen. I live in Palmer. And I want to talk about this particular company called Alaska Plastic Recovery. And they're based out of Anchorage, and they're taking plastics such as clamshells and drinking containers that are not normally found, that recycling centers normally wouldn't accept because China stops accepting recycle exports since 2019, you know, and he's using the plastic to make plastic products such as 2x4s, you know, like such as 2x4s for decks and boardwalks, and so forth. So my point is that you know, to be aware of what plastics you're throwing out, because it could be used for so many alternatives. He doesn't just use the plastic that we normally don't usually see in the recycling center, but he also uses nets, you know, from leftover from the fishing vessels that are made out of plastic and from other plastics that are usually discarded haphazardly into the ocean and getting into other marine life. So I'm really pushing the idea for recycle bins across Palmer, not just in Palmer but in the valley and if not the whole state. So that's what I'm after. So I'm just letting you all know that there is a business that makes plastic wood. So just want you to be aware of that.
Thank you. Karen Lewis.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council. My name is Karen Lewis. The handout that I just gave to the city clerk is some ideas about how you could formulate or form a committee to to the books that are being challenged. I think the borough's committee is going to work out wonderfully. I think, I know that Westella City Council is seriously considering it. I know that you sounded like you were seriously considering it, and it would be a good thing to get a group of people that will look at these books with clear eyes, because the people that were in these committees before had determined what they were going to do before they even got to the library. They're mostly librarians and library committee people and people that want to keep these books in there. I don't understand why people want to keep these books in there, because they twist the minds of children. They steal their innocence. Parents should be involved with how children look at sex, and if they don't hear it from their parents, well, maybe a teacher, or maybe a priest, or a pastor, youth pastor, I don't know. But, sex is a beautiful thing, the way God created it. It's beautiful. It's procreative. It's wonderful. But these books twist it into something that doesn't even look like that. I mean, it's obscene. It's definitely something I don't think even most adults would want to read. It's disgusting, filthy, evil is the word. So I hope that you do formulate a committee so that these books can be challenged. As I said, they're doing it at the borough, and I look forward to having that done. Another way of doing this is legislatively. I think the Mat-Su Borough will deal with it through the city councils and the borough, but I think the rest of the state's going to need legislative action to get these books out of the libraries. Alabama did it. They did it legislatively just a week ago, Monday. And each library can handle it the way they want, but those books have to be removed out of the hands of children. And I believe that most of the states in this nation will have that done soon too, because it's a hot issue. It should be. It should have been when this started happening 20 years ago. But finally, people know about it. People are fighting against it, as they should. That's what adults do. They try to protect children. This woman in the red sweater that called us bullies, excuse me, I think warping the minds of children is far beyond what I wouldn't call you a bully, because that's way too mild. But we're not bullies. We are protecting the children.
That's your time.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else for audience participation?
Hi, I'm Prudence McKenney. Sorry, I forgot to sign up. I'm the president of the Friends of the Palmer Library, and I'm here to invite you all to next Tuesday's hotly awaited finale party for the summer reading program. It is a great opportunity if you are concerned about the library and you are concerned about the community. It's a great opportunity to see people and talk to people who have been using the library and reading all summer. Also, if you are very good, there might be a free hot dog. So I highly recommend that you come. We have prize drawings, we have games. If you really want to go all in, you could volunteer. We are still looking for a few adults to help wrangle the kids during the games. We're also looking for a little setup help at about 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning. The party itself runs from 11 to 1. If you, again, really want to bust it out, you could stay to help clean up at 1 o'clock. But otherwise, we'd just be happy to see anybody there. And like I said, if you are concerned, it's a great opportunity to talk to people who actually use the library and know what it's about. Thank you. That is Tuesday the 30th. The party's 11 to 1 at the depot. Setup is at 10 a.m. Cleanup will end up about 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for audience participation?
Yeah, I didn't know if I was going to speak tonight, but I guess I will. My name is Frank Bell. I find it interesting, meeting after meeting after meeting, we hear about libraries, books that shouldn't be on shelves. And the word communist and Marxist gets thrown around quite a bit. And I've tried to sort of stay out of it, but just from a historical perspective, what really piques my interest is that what's going on here, as far as the people that are advocating for these books being removed, it really is a reflective sort of microcosm of what the government did in Soviet Russia, what communists did. They didn't try to influence and indoctrinate people by adding things to the library. They tried to indoctrinate their populations by removing books from the library. And the way that they did this was they created a committee. And granted, that was on a national scale, and what we have going on here locally is a committee that's now been created in the Mat-Su Borough and filled with people of whatever ideology the assembly members prefer or the mayor prefers. And, you know, in communist Russia, during the Soviet era, libraries in Russia by the 1930s had upwards of 60% of their collections removed by those committees, purely for the purpose of indoctrination. And some people that spoke out against that, one writer, Alexei Parkrovsky, actually said he admired American libraries, because American public libraries specifically, because they were a free service that allowed access to all people and contained information that all people would want to read. Well, he was declared a criminal and thrown in jail. And a lot of the people advocating for that now have attempted to have our librarians arrested. So I just find it really ironic that the word communist is thrown around, you know, as this, you know, these supposedly evil people that are trying to put books into the library. But what's actually happening here is more reflective of the communist strategy to indoctrinate their people by removing books from the library. That's, you know, maybe that's not relevant to anybody, or maybe nobody cares, but to me it's just, if you actually look into it and research it, there's glaringly obvious similarities between people that are trying to get books banned in the United States now and what communist Russia did to indoctrinate their people. So, just something to think about. I would also point out that I try not to call anyone out specifically, but Ms. Lewis here at Wasilla's council meeting yesterday told them that the Palmer City Council was seriously considering creating a Library Citizens Advisory Committee. Now she's here tonight at the Palmer City Council meeting telling you that Wasilla's City Council is seriously starting to consider a Library Citizens Committee. So just take that for what it's worth. I'm not saying they are or they aren't, just telling you what I saw last night and tonight. So thank you.
Is there anyone else for audience participation?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mike Malewski, live in downtown Palmer, and I'm not going to talk about libraries or librarians or books. What I'm going to talk about is something that's special, which is Friday Fling. And as you all know, it's back in operation, and it'll be happening this Friday. The reason why I bring it up is because the radio station will have a booth there. Every so often, the chamber has a booth for a different chamber member to be there, and this happens to be our turn. Now, we'd like to submit that we're going to be doing something a wee bit different than many other booth occupiers, in that, as many of you know, we appear at the Alaska State Fair every day when the fair is in operation, and we broadcast live from there. Some of you may have come by. We've interviewed you. We're going to do the same thing there. We'll be broadcasting live for a couple of hours. And so if you happen to be at the Friday Fling, stop by. Our intention is a simple one, is that to have people who are at the fair, whether they happen to be a vendor or someone who's passing by, to say a few words about why they come to Friday Fling and share that. And we can do that. It's a way of doing it. We'll also, by the way, be utilizing the same equipment we have here for video. So we'll do a video stream to our YouTube as well, just to have people understand what's happening at the fair. And if, for example, as has been somewhat predicted, it might be cloudy and a little bit rainy, be able to see how good or bad it is and make your decisions about whether you want to join the crowd. So I hope that'll be helpful for things. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for audience participation? Okay, we will close this audience participation. Next is public hearings. First up is resolution number 24-027, authorizing the city manager to approve the reclassification of the library director position and amend the City of Palmer employee pay plan by reclassifying the library director. We will open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this resolution can come forward to do so. We have 3 minutes.
What exactly does that mean? What you're doing, changing? I mean, is this? I mean, can you clarify maybe before we have questions or talk about it? Because
I guess we could have had a staff report, but wait. Maybe we'll, okay, maybe I can back up and ask for a staff report. I know you're missing your department director, but I can give at least a beginning intro. We did a reclassification of all the city positions last year, but then it was up to the department heads to.
More level.
Right. And then each department was supposed to kind of look at all of their positions. And I'll let our interim director, Gina, tell me more.
That is correct. So in November of 2023, Palmer City Council passed a classification study. And it was directed for staff to follow up with any possible corrections that needed to be reviewed. And that's what these 3 pieces of legislation are.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go back to the public hearing and say you can comment on this. There's materials in the packet. This is just a time for someone if they want to speak to this specific matter. Please start with your name.
Heidi Edmond.
Okay.
I think I forgot it the last 2 times I was up here. I would just like to say, I have a lot to say about the way that the pay plan whole thing went down. Wasilla City Council had, or at least, I don't know if they actually had it, but they had a suggestion from one of their employees, and then they said they were going to have, I don't know if it was executive sessions or something, listening sessions for their employees so the employees could speak freely to the council when they were doing something similar without having to worry about it being on the public, like all the public sitting. I don't know quite what they did, but employees were not really given a forum to speak about this before it happened, and then it happened, and it was a mess. And then for this particular thing, the library director, was at a level 10 and was bumped down to a level 8 and is already the lowest paid library director in the state. So I feel strongly that this should be bumped back up to where it was, because she runs the whole library, and there's a whole lot to that that I wouldn't even take on. So thank you.
Anyone else that wants to speak to this specific resolution? 24-027.
My name is Linda Spahn. I'm against this resolution. The library director and librarian should be fired, not leveled up. Sorry. If you're going to do anything at all with the libraries, get the books out. Get the pornography out. You know, these people are evil, and something belongs to be done with this. They don't get a raise. Forget that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Please start with
I'm
your
sorry,
name.
my name's Karen Lewis.
Thank you.
I don't understand why librarians as a group, probably not all of them, but way too many of them, are so demented. Why do they think it's fine to put before children twisted, demented things that are, I mean, are they mentally ill? Are they demon possessed? What in the heck is going on? I mean, at their gathering last January, the librarians gathered in Fairbanks, and the Fairbanks librarian said, well, I've done my research, and I found that the kids here want more sadomasochistic scenes in their books. Excuse me, do you really believe that? I don't. I think these librarians have been indoctrinated or brainwashed or, I don't know, gotten involved in covens. I have no idea, but they should not be allowed anywhere near children. That includes the librarians here. They don't think right. When you put obscene material before children, and like these books that Jackie found in there, given by the Friends of Wasilla and the Matsu Moms for Social Justice, about a little child. I mean, these little kids will sit on somebody's laps and they'll be reading this book that this little girl, you know, she's this big, and she says, oh, I'm really a boy. You know, I mean, give me a break. I mean, they're doing this in the schools, too. They're doing this, too. And most of the kids that they end up being able to fool into thinking that they're transgender or autistic or there's something, there's another factor involved like that, where they don't think normally, anyway, to start with. These teachers, these counselors, these librarians need to be out. They need to be out. We need some decent librarians that have a good moral compass, that will protect the children and not harm them. They're harming children. Are you hearing me, Mr. Mayor? I don't know why people, I mean, little eye contact would be good. Know you're hearing. This is serious. I mean, yeah, the fair is good. No, I'm talking, excuse me.
This is about the library director position.
And all librarians that I've seen.
This is only about the library director position.
Yeah, she is not a good person. You should not be giving her a raise. She should not even be there anymore. I don't know what we need to do to get her out, but we'll figure it out and we'll get her out. She doesn't belong there. And if you guys won't protect her, we will. We'll find a way. We will find a way.
That's your time. Anyone else to speak to resolution number 24-027? Okay, we will close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, I do have a comment.
Councilman Cooper.
This is to speak to Heidi's question. This resolution changes the rate from 8 to back up to 10. So there is an increase in the budget to raise the library director's schedule from 8 to 10, to answer your question.
Okay. Councilmember Moline.
Thank you. This is more for just the general public because we had conversations about this while we were going through the decision-making of the reclassification plan. And there were a lot of factors that led us to have to do this study. And part of it was there were some legal, things, the legal language that required us to do this, and that was for protection of the employees. So I just want to remind people that due diligence was done for this study, and it also, at some point, you will see that it makes this city a lot more codified and a lot more competitive with the pay plan. Will it have growing pains? Absolutely, but there was good intent, and personally, it should have been done a long time ago. So that's just clarification on this.
Councilman Alcantara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Put a little finer point on things and a question for the acting city manager, Gina. So what I understand, and I actually wasn't here, but I was participating in the process November 28th of 2023. We went through this, but my question is if I'm following it right, and I don't have documents from November of 2023, but this position in that pay scale was taken from a 10 to an 8, and now we're bringing it back to a 10 again? Is that correct? And then my follow-up, though, is what I see as the fiscal impact, because I'm going to ask this probably on all three individual questions, is $2,500 increase goes from July 8th to December 31st. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And my first part was correct as well.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Best.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And to also add, I think we're all adding a little bit of clarification to this. So for the general public as well. So when we did the study, it basically looked at the job descriptions as they sat and basically re-leveled everything where we were meeting all the federal requirements and making sure that we were not exposed in a manner that would show that a position in a department, if that same position existed in another department, wasn't a disparaging based off of the personality or the person that was their supervisor. It was equal across the board. Now, what we also then found was that there was every year when an employee goes through an evaluation, they have the opportunity to say, hey, I'm doing more than what is inside my job description. And then the director and that employee get to sit down and then they get to look at whether or not they're going to adjust that into a next level or they're going to reclassify that job duty. And what we then offered was to the employees, now this is your opportunity as we go through the next portion of this process is to review your job descriptions. And if there are disparaging discrepancies in this, then bring to the directors, and then those will come to the manager and then to city council to do what we're doing here tonight. So what we have before us in the next couple of items is basically that employees or directors have then gone through and reviewed those job descriptions, looked to see if there was some job duties that were not being associated with that position, and make sure that they're being compensated for it equally. So it's fairly simple if that helps clarify things.
And I believe it was earlier this month, we did a reclassification for, I think, with some fire department people. And before that, I think was it police?
We just did the fire department prior to this.
Okay. So this has been an ongoing process of kind of a deeper evaluation of positions.
Correct. And Mr. Mayor, if I may also,
yes.
When what we did find, and we know this because it was talked about, but for the public as well, many of these job descriptions hadn't been adjusted in several years, like 8 to 10 years. It's kind of a mindset of some businesses that you're like, it's not going to make a difference, so I'm not going to bring it up to the boss. I don't want to make any waves, and the employee just kind of goes along, and then now 10 years go past, and you don't realize that you're carrying additional wood all the time, and we're just trying to square everything up.
Any other comments or questions from council? Okay. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Tudor,
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara,
Yes.
Councilmember Best,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Councilmember Moline,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Unanimous?
Next is resolution number 24-028, authorizing the city manager to approve the reclassification of the technology administrator, library specialist, and library services coordinator and amend the City of Palmer employee pay plan. Do we want a little short staff report here for a little bit of clarification? Madam Manager.
Yes, so once again, the job descriptions were reevaluated. They were brought forward to Human Resource Manager, who went through the criteria and reviewed the new job descriptions, and that's why the evaluations came out the way they did. 2 of these are going up and 1 is being lowered.
Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead and open public hearing for resolution number 24-028. Anyone wishing to speak to this specific resolution can come forward.
My name's Karen Lewis. You know, I don't have a problem with, the job here is to make sure that the salaries and things are in order with what they should be for positions. The problem is the books. The problems are these obscene books. And if you all make a committee that will look at these books and either say yay or nay, and believe me, they'll say nay to these books, there's no problem with that librarian having the money that, because I'm sure she does a lot of good things. I'm sure without the books, I'm sure she's a good librarian. But these books harm children. Have you read the books? Have you heard us read? We stopped doing it because the mayor didn't want us to read them because they are so filthy and disgusting. You should read them, and you'll know what we're talking about then. There's about 100 in the borough. And it's perfectly normal to have these professionals be paid where they should be, as long as the obscene books aren't available for children. It's really that simple. So I do hope that you all will form this committee to look. What's the harm? The harm is not doing it. The harm is to the children if you don't do it. But each one of you pick out a person that will sit at this committee and review these books. That's what the borough's doing. I think that's what Wasilla's going to do. I hope that's what you do too. There's been some talk about it. And last week, or at Wasilla too, they talked about it. There's a couple that want to do it there too. So I hope everybody gets on board and does that. That would be good. That would help the community. That would really help the children. It's time to stop allowing the children's minds to be twisted. You know how bad it is. We've read this to you guys. You know how bad what's in these books. You know what's in them. So please formulate a committee to look at these books. And we'll stop coming here and complaining about it. Deal? That'd be great. I would like that a lot. Thank you.
My name is Linda Sloan. And I really can't believe you people have the audacity to sit before us after we've been coming here for a year on the behalf of the children of this community, and you're going to give these evil librarian or librarians a raise. You're going to lift their level. I don't care what study you've done or how long you've studied this. From last November, we've been coming here long before November 23. I can't believe you can sit here in front of us.
Mayor, I'd like to bring a point of order, please. We're still discussing.
Point of order?
Yeah, we're still discussing this resolution and not the librarians. It has nothing to do with people. It has something to do with the actual job,
The positions?
the position.
Okay.
And we know who's in the position. These positions are occupied by evil. And you know it, and it's going on nationwide, and you refuse to do anything about it. You look like you're growing horns, Mayor.
I know you're a good Christian man, I know you are. I don't.
Heidi Dedmond. These three positions, I just want to say I agree with the adjustments for each of the three of them. According to the job duties that each person does, I think it's appropriate to put them in the positions that they were slated for in this resolution. Thank you.
Is there anyone else to speak to this specific resolution 24-028?
My name is Jackie Goforth, and as a 22-year postal manager, EAS 20, retired, I want you to know I know all about regulations and all about levels and all about moving people to the right classifications, et cetera, et cetera. And I do want to point out that the position that was being discussed at this time, two of them are library specialist and library services coordinator. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? All right, we will close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? Councilman Alcantara.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Question for Ms. Davis. I appreciate the full-fledged reports, and I read them all yesterday, but it's good to kind of put a fine point on it for the public. So am I understanding that the library services coordinator position back in the pay plan was actually upgraded to a 7 and now it's being lowered to a 6? Am I understanding that in this particular resolution, 2 people are getting raises and 1 person's getting a pay cut? Am I following it?
That is correct. The leveling for the library services coordinator was overstated and was reviewed.
Councilman Alcantara.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, and whoever has, I don't know the people, but it's just a good thing. Whoever's been in that position, options are take a pay cut from the pay you've had for the last 6 months or not, I suppose.
Correct. We'll look at the leveling as far as where this person was at prior to the pay plan being changed and then rated accordingly.
Good. Councilmember Moline.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So that actually answers my question, because I think that we had, when we had originally discussed this, one of our concerns is that we did not want to see, even though some of those classifications might change, we didn't want to have a negative impact on anybody who would receive a reduction in pay unless it was a significant disparity, or they were on a PIP plan, or they were undergoing some kind of disciplinary action. So I guess I'm a little concerned that maybe we didn't follow that, but it sounds like you guys are going to reevaluate that so that that person is made whole. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from council? All right. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Alcantara?
Yes.
Councilmember Best?
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper?
Yes.
Councilmember Moline?
Yes.
Mayor Carrington?
Yes.
Councilmember Tudor?
Yes.
Unanimous?
Okay, next we have resolution number 24-029, authorizing the city manager to approve the reclassification of 3 public works personnel and amend the city of Palmer pay plan. Do we need, I guess we don't need, do we want a staff report? Sure, okay. Ms. Davis.
Yes, these positions, once again, had to do with the job descriptions were updated, and reviewed by the HR manager and discussed with the city manager. And these changes were the result of
Okay.
the job description change.
All right. Thanks. So we will open the public hearing for resolution number 24-029. Anyone wishing to speak to this resolution, please come forward. Okay, we will close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any questions or comments from council on this resolution? Councilman
Mr.
Cooper.
Mayor, just real quick, so the equipment operator was increased to an 8, is that from a 7? And then the other one was just up one level from 4 to 5? Thank you.
Okay. No other questions? All right, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Moline,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Councilmember Best,
Yes.
Councilmember Tudor,
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes.
Unanimous?
All right, next is resolution number 24-031, accepting and appropriating the FY 2024 State of Alaska High Visibility Enforcement DUI Events Grant 405D FA M5 HV-24-01-FA-A-4 in the amount of $1,760 to be used for DUI enforcement activities by the Palmer Police Department. That's a lot of work just to get that
Move
out.
to approve.
I will open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to that or say it, please come forward. Okay, we will close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council for this resolution?
Move to approve.
Second.
Councilman Alcantara.
Yeah, I believe that was parens A4. No, I
This
had a
is
question
true.
for the city manager. Just so 80 hour or 20 hours, sorry, and $82 an hour. When these things come along, and I don't see the good chief here, but when these things they come along, just like there's a separate grant for 4th of July weekend, and a separate grant for Labor Day weekend, and a separate grant for Thanksgiving weekend, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, they come out kind of during like the holiday seasons. Actually, the one during Memorial Day was actually the seatbelt grant, and this one over the 4th of July weekend was for the DUI, and then the most likely will be another one in August for the State Fair and Labor Day.
All right. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Best,
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper,
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara,
Yes.
Councilmember Tudor,
Yes.
Councilmember Moline.
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Unanimous?
All right, next is action memoranda. Action memorandum number 24-039, authorizing the city manager to execute contract extension number 2 with the White Knight Services in the amount not to exceed $2,004 per complete call out for snow removal at city facilities. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second, okay. Is there questions of council? We want a staff report? Okay. Madam Clerk, you want to drag someone up here? No, Madam.
May I introduce Jude Bill for our Public Works Director.
Mr. Mayor,
Hey,
council
Jude.
members, this contract, the base contract was awarded by City Council, and this is within the base contract, there are 2 one-year extensions, and that's where we are coming to you for the authorization of one of those one-year contract extensions. This one is for the company that does all the snow removal at various facilities around the city that we just don't have the personnel to do ourselves, and that's what this contract is for. And this company has done a fantastic job for us. It doesn't matter if it's 1 a.m., 5 a.m., when there's a call out done by the Public Works, the superintendent of Public Works, their folks respond within the specified time. And as I said, they have done a great service to the city.
All right. Any questions from council? Councilman Alcantara.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Relfer, thanks. Looking forward in the report, not seeing it. How many call-outs last year? Any idea?
Oh, I do not know that off the top of my head.
A lot.
There are a lot 3 times.
I'm sure you'd rather me give you a quantifiable number, which I unfortunately I apologize. I do not know, but it was a significant number.
Councilman Cooper.
Thank you, Mayor. The question I have is, we have one contractor out there. Did we, because of the excess snow that we had this last year and the year before, have we had any problems with them being able to make it because they have obviously other duties elsewhere to remove snow?
We have not. We have been very fortunate. There were a couple times where they had a reduced crew, so it took them a little longer because their crew members had some commitments elsewhere. But no, they have been, as I said, very responsive, very willing to do the work until it gets done. And as I mentioned, they provide a service that if we did not have them, I don't know that we would be able to perform.
Follow-up, please.
Yes, go ahead.
And so a call-out, is that potentially just, is it one building, or is it call-out is for the city?
When a call-out occurs, it is all 8 facilities that they're responsible for.
Thank you.
Councilman Best.
Councilman Cooper asked pretty much the same question I was going to ask.
Okay. All right. Any other questions from council? All right. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Tudor.
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes.
Councilmember Best.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Moline.
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Yes.
Next is action memorandum number 24-040, authorizing the city manager to negotiate a contract with Dirtworks Inc. in the amount not to exceed $87,870 for the Fire Training Center Drainage Improvements Project. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay. Moved to seconded. I see Jude didn't go anywhere. Madam Manager, what do you have for us?
Jude Bellifer can speak on this. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, Council, there is a significant drainage problem at the Fire Training Center area, which also has our community development director and his staff are there as well. There is a old drain system. It was a French type drain system that was put in decades ago, and just over time that entire system has clogged, and there is nothing to do right now to get that old system operational. This project will create an entirely new drain system which will remove the water which pools right in the middle of that Fire Training Center area and community development. And it is a significant hazard. We have seen it, and Chief Cameron's here as well, we've seen it upwards of close to 2 feet deep. It is significant. I have had crews out there with Vector trucks that have sucked down the water, taken it all the way down to the drain system, gone down into the drain system as far as we can, which with the Vector truck is 12 feet, only to have it filled back up with water in a couple hours. Is that correct, Chief? And it was a losing battle. So this new system, and by the way, I'll just share with you, the engineering firm that did the design and gave us the initial estimate on this was $107,000. Through the bidding process, you see there, the low bid was $87,000. So it's good we had some competitive bids out there, and the city is getting not only a good contractor, in my opinion, to do this, at a very reasonable and fair price. This drain system will take the water away towards the airport. And when I say towards the airport, the new runway that was just created, or taxiway, there was an additional significantly larger drain system put in down there, and that's where this water will go to.
So you're going to get rid of Fire Lake, huh?
Well, it was actually called Public Works Director Lake for a while. We won't talk about that.
Okay. Councilmember Moline.
I think that Mr. Tudor had.
Oh, Councilman Tudor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Just a little curious, how many years has it been like this? I feel like it's been like that for a little while, but my memory could be hazy on that.
It has been there, as far as I've been here 2.5 years. It has been here talking with my folks at least a dozen years.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it has just languished over there, nothing has been.
I was thinking it was for scuba training, so I was just confused.
But it's time because, as I said, it's very, very dangerous. Vehicles have slipped on it, people have slipped on it in the winter, because what happens is when you have the freeze-thaw cycles that we do have, it is the low spot right in the middle of that area, and it collects all the water and then refreezes.
Councilmember Moline.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I have a two-part question. So, number one, do we know that this is a permanent solution? Number one.
We are very confident in that.
That it is going to be a permanent
Yes,
solution? Okay.
Yes.
Number two, this is a little bit, just entertain me with this question. Does anybody else use that training facility or base or center other than our resources? Thank you, I can see. So I think you know where I'm going with this. Yeah.
And it is used, yes, by all of the community development personnel, fire department personnel. In terms of outside,
that's what I mean.
entities,
Outside entities.
I would have to ask you. I believe
Yeah.
so. I know there are a lot of volunteer organizations that the fire department works with, but I don't want to speak out of turn on that exact question.
We're getting the head nod. That's okay.
That's all I needed to know, really. I can get to the other crux of it, but I think you know why I'm asking. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from council? All right, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Moline.
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Tudor.
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Best.
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right. Next is action memorandum number 24-041, authorizing the city manager to execute the second contract extension with the Eagle View Excavation for city snow haul services in an amount not to exceed $90 per hour per truck. What's the wishes of the council?
Second.
Moved, seconded. Do we have any questions of council? I believe this was alluded to already in the earlier discussion, so I think, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Tudor.
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes.
Councilmember Best.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Moline.
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Next is action memorandum number 24-043, confirmation of mayoral appointment of Eric Anderson to the Planning and Zoning Commission, seat G, with a term expiring October 2025. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any questions of Councilmember Moline?
I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say that I can't think of a more perfect person for this position because I think it's going to be a learning experience for him as well as everybody else. Thank you.
I think so. Councilmember Tudor.
No, go ahead. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to mirror what Councilmember Molina said. He's, for those of you who don't know, he's been here many times to give us a technical analysis of different things, and he's very knowledgeable. He's going to be a really big asset to planning and zoning.
Councilman Alcantara.
Yeah, just continuing with the love fest for Eric Anderson and the fact that he's been, and I'm blown away he's not here, but I hope that planning commission doesn't plan any meetings before at least 6 p.m. because I know he's a commuter, but Mr. Anderson, as everybody most people in this audience know, has been here multiple times and enlightening us on many topics. So kudos, Mayor, and kudos to Mr. Anderson. Thank you.
I'll comment that he explained to me he couldn't make it tonight. I said, well, it wasn't necessary for him to be appointed. I will point out we had 3 people apply. He's the only one that's an actual resident of the city. Everybody believes they live in the city, but not everyone does. All right, Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Best.
Yes.
Councilmember Cooper.
Yes.
Councilmember Alcantara.
Yes.
Councilmember Tudor.
Yes.
Mayor Carrington.
Yes.
Councilmember Moline.
Yes.
Unanimous.
All right. No unfinished business, no new business. Record of items placed on the table. Madam Clerk.
Document from Jackie Goforth, document from Karen Lewis.
Okay. Next is audience participation. We'll open audience participation. Please start with your name, and you have 3 minutes. And I guess I'll write names down as people come up, since I have the list here.
My name's Karen Lewis. You know, we've been coming here for over a year talking about the obscene books and trying to think of ways to get them out of the hands of the children and toddlers too, now that we find there's books there for them too. So I'm hoping that you will take seriously the handout and talk it over amongst yourselves, and I do hope you create a committee too of good, moral, right-minded people to go over these books and decide whether they're obscene or not. But you know, I've done everything I can think of except the most important, so I'm going to do that right now. I thank you, Father, for hearing this. Father, I pray for the hearts and the minds of the City Council here in Palmer and also in Wasilla. I ask that you would touch their hearts and their minds and direct them into what they should do about these obscene books in the libraries. And Father, I ask that this prayer would go nationwide too, in all the city councils and assemblies, and legislatures too, and that your will would be accomplished in this. Your will, Father. I know that you have ways way beyond ours, and I know you will accomplish it. And I thank you in advance for what you're going to do. Father, please bless these people. Please open everybody's mind here in this room, and I ask that you would show them what you would have them to do. And I ask this in Jesus' mighty name.
Anyone else for audience participation?
Mark Spohn, Mayor and council members. This is not where I want to be. This is not the joy of my life to come here and ask for anything. I don't even like the political process that much, I guess. But when you look at what's gone in this nation, what happened with the assassination attempt with the president, when you look at the platform, you read the platform stuff that the Republican National Convention put out to try and get this country back in order. All this DEI and LBG, all this acronyms and all this stuff going on has created this into a country we don't even recognize. This isn't the America we've lived in. And how on earth, I figured if you came, you people can't possibly know every single thing that goes on, because none of us do. But when a group of people come to you and show you and read you this horrible filth that taxpayers are pushing through our libraries, you're paying for the funding of these libraries, you're paying to build new ones. How can this be such a hard decision? Because it's affecting the youth with taxpayer money. I'm sure you've all probably either have children, or in my case, I have children, we have grandchildren. You do not want to even take a tiny little bit of chance to harm a child. Not even, and you say, well, it's not doing any good. What if it helped one kid? Isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth it if we help one kid, and hopefully it'll help a lot more? Every professional will tell you this addiction to pornography is unbelievable what it's doing to the youth. And we're going to use taxpayer money. We keep using taxpayer money to push it on kids and make it available to kids. So think about what your duty is. Think about what you personally are. I can't imagine any of you wanting to go read it. I sure don't want to read it. But to make it available with taxpayer funds to kids, You know, how can that be such a hard decision? Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jackie Goforth again, and I speak for myself. You know, there seems to be a group of people that believe that if you've gone to a university and have a diploma, that confers superiority on you. And I knew that at a Chamber of Commerce meeting 2 years ago that I attended, and I won't say who it was, but she said the masses are asses. They all knew that. And the most intelligent people in the community were in that room. I had to stand up and walk out because I felt like I was it felt like actually being in the middle of a racist Klan meeting. The entire strategic focus of the ALA is called Queering the Library. It came out in 2022, and I will have a handout for all of you on what exactly that means, okay? Now, I want you to know that we have cycled through how we've been violating First Amendment rights. We've cycled through we're Nazis, we're book banning, it's sex education, it's non-obscenity. It's been requested by the community. Now it's matched up with socialist Russia, and I want you to know, it is socialist. The major tenets of socialism are to remove patriarchs, to destroy the Western nuclear family, and to raise children like they're in a commune, hence the word communist. And that's exactly what Identical does. Every single patriarch in there is a monster. The only one that's nice in that book is actually a teacher, who also has designs on the woman. You know, I've been told that I'm uninformed, I'm immature, I don't understand how obscenity is defined. I'm ignorant. That's a mixture of ignorant and arrogant. I have a hard time caring what people actually say and talk to me and tell me my name is when they don't even know how to get a business license before they run a business, and they're in the middle of a huge suit right now because they ran a campaign without actually doing the paperwork. I want you to know, the reason why I do this is because of that August 12th meeting that's taking place at the borough. I know what's in these books, and once the people find out what's in these books, they're going to know what's in it, and they're going to know what the people are pushing on their children. And I look forward to being there when they tell you what's in Identical, because 9 people have now read it, and they will be able to discuss it. And if I can save one child from thinking that the anus is a sexual organ that is the one you're supposed to use, and what rimming means, which is in one of these cartoon books, then my job to my Lord and Savior is correct. I am not afraid of what anybody says to me. I'm not afraid of any woman who thinks they're a guy or any guy who thinks they're a woman. What I'm afraid of is standing in front of my Maker and knowing I could have saved a child and not doing it. Remember, the NGO attached to the library, anybody who is with the American Library Association, is dedicated to queering your library, our library. I don't care what they say. I have the paperwork to prove it. Thank you.
Is there anyone else for audience participation?
Heidi Dedmond. I'm actually going to talk about Friday Fling because when Verna Lewis was here, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 council meetings ago, she was talking about how, I think it was she that was talking about how great it was that when Friday Fling was canceled, that other businesses kind of opened up their parking lots and lawns and spaces. And I thought about that some more, and I thought, I don't go to Friday Fling because there's too many people in a small area or just milling around in a small area. But I think it would be awesome to kind of spread the wealth around. The chamber does the Trick or Treat Street, and they put out a map for people to go around to kids to get candy. I think it would be awesome for Friday Fling if you could spread vendors out amongst other businesses just to get them out of the one small section and kind of spread the wealth around Palmer. So just an idea that Verda sparked when she was here. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Travis. I live in Palmer, and I have an idea for a Friday fling because I know near the museum they have a piano, public piano, one over there, and they also have another public piano near the train station. And I like playing the piano, but they need to be tuned. So I don't know if there's anybody that maintains the piano, but if there isn't, they should probably do something about it because there's some issues with the keys. And believe me when I say this, I am a pianist. I went to college for it, a bachelor's in piano. But I would also like to see is maybe a public organ because I'm an organist too, because I like to, put some more variety out there. So public piano, it's good. I would like to see a public organ as well. Thank you.
My name is Frank Bell. I just want to say I fully support Travis's idea that piano get tuned.
Thank you. Anyone else for audience participation? Okay, we will close audience participation. Next is councilman comments. Councilman Cooper, shall we start with you?
Thanks, Mayor. Just wondering, way back when we talked about an RFP for the museum, which comes up, I guess, at the end of the year. I'm not sure when we're going to get that out, or we're in July now, and I don't know how long it takes, but it seems like this would be a kind of an opportune time that we probably get that out on the street fairly soon. More importantly, I'm looking forward to cooking this Friday at Celebrate Palmer along with my cookmate, Mr. Beth.
All right. Councilman Alcantara.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No comments from me.
Okay. Councilman Tudor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I just wanted to definitely invite everyone to come out for the event this Friday. It's going to be an awesome event. Should be have some awesome food, and it's always a great time. Just looking forward to seeing everyone out there. Thank you.
Councilman Best.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to say that Travis stole my thunder a little bit, that I read the article that was published this last week about the Alaska Plastics Recovery, and it stated that it was in Palmer, but when I went to the website, it shows that their business is in Anchorage. I told you it was in Anchorage. Anyhow, the article states that it's in Palmer, but then I go to the website and it says that they're in Anchorage. But it also says that they have 3 locations, and it says that they have portable facilities. So I'm curious if anybody knows where they are located. I would be very interested to view this facility. I've tried to reach out to them already. I think it's a great idea. It's thinking outside of the box. It's trying to make use of the refuge that we have in state instead of just bundling it up and shipping it out and trying to make a product that we can utilize here. So I would also be interested in, because I was looking at some of the products, it's like 4x4 fence posts and all that kind of stuff. So I'm thinking maybe there might be some public use facilities or parks that we might be able to maybe venture with them and have some opportunity to synergize with them. So I appreciate Travis bringing that up, though. I would also support tuning that piano, but I do believe that might be the museum and or the chamber that is involved with the museum. So we'll reach out to those folks as well. And I encourage everybody to come and celebrate Palmer with the Palmer Pride celebration that we have, where we celebrate our community, free hot dogs. I don't know, is Mr. Molesky going to be able to comment on whether or not we're going to have the noodle shoot this year or not?
I've heard that they won't be there.
It will not be there. Unfortunately. Okay. But it's always good fun, and look forward to grilling with my councilman friend here.
Councilmember Moline.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think I would like to ask or I would like to reiterate that when we had originally talked about the museum contract, that we did give the directive, and it was acknowledged that we would go out 6 months prior to the expiration of that contract for the RFP. So I just want to bubble that up and maybe remind that that needs to hit the street. And that it does need to come back to the council, for final say and approval. And thank you, everyone, for coming out. I know not everybody understands why we go through the process of a pay plan. It doesn't necessarily have to do with the people that sit in those seats. It has to do with the actual, job titles and classifications and how they're paid. So I just want to reiterate that this is a good thing, and it is a good thing for the employees of the city of Palmer with that thought process. And I hope that everybody enjoys Palmer Pride. I think it's going to be a good event. Hopefully we get the sunshine back. I mean, that would be a nice thing. And I would encourage that when you have comments about Pride Flings, I think here is a great place and a great venue. But don't forget to take that to the chamber, because they're the ones that really need to hear those comments and bring that to fruition. So thank you.
And I'll just close with reminding people, normally our meetings are the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month, but we are canceling our August 13th meeting because of other events. And we're going to have a special meeting August 6th, but it'll feel about right because that's 2 weeks from now, so it kind of fits the 2-week mode, but just to remind people. And we're adjourned at 7:21.